Today we're going to be going over some of the best, highest level fragrance grails that I think every guy should consider adding to their collection at some point. And I want to first start off by clarifying that this video isn't full of super expensive and incredibly hard to find scents. Because generally, when it comes down to it, that's maybe what you think of when you think of Grail, you know, or something like that. That's not really what I'm going for here, just because then we would be going after things that just aren't produced at all anymore, and it would be really hard to get, or things that are going to be out of a lot of people's budget. Instead, I'm trying to take a more realistic approach, a more inclusive approach, and I went through and I looked at some of my favorite fragrances that offer something exciting or different to me, to my collection, and scents that make for a great wearing experience. And this is kind of what I came up with here. So we'll work through each of these and I'll kind of touch on why I think they are suited for this type of video as we go forward here. I'll drop links to them down below if you want to pick some up at discounters. That would be the place to go so you can save a good amount of money. But first, let's get kicked off with L'Homme Eau de Parfum by YSL. So great starter scent here because this is in production. You can choose to buy it at your favorite retailer if you wanted to, or you could jump on any of your favorite discounters and pick it up for a little bit below that price. But this one is very easily obtainable, and it's not completely unreasonable either. It's going to be hovering right around the $100 price point. On discounters, a bit less than that. And why is this one so special to me? Well, it basically revives and maybe even improves an already classic, fantastic gentleman's DNA, and that is, of course, the original YSL L'Homme. That, to me, is such a special scent. You know, it might sound played out, it might sound super basic and boring, but it is really good stuff. The OG L'Homme, that ginger, the lavender, the woods in there and everything like that, has like an apple feel. It smells amazing. And again, it's one of the most gentlemanly smelling fragrances that I have. I mean, it's a timeless classic. And to this day, it's still a fantastic scent. But years later, they came out with an EDP, which takes that DNA, adds in a little bit of cognac, some bitter orange. You're getting some of the woods in here still, some of the aromatics kind of in the mid. But it brings it back to life. It gives it more of an interesting feel and a little bit more depth and complexity. And so I think if you're someone who has been wearing the original L'Homme for years, maybe you forgot about it for a while and you want to get back into it, pick up the Eau de Parfum. It's a nice change of pace and a very well done, well thought out, purposeful flanker. Now this next one is a little bit more expensive. However, it's not like, you know, hard to get or anything like that. It's just from a more expensive fragrance line in particular. From Carolina Herrera, it is Mystery Tobacco. This is from their Confidential line. And so things within here are usually hovering around $200, lower to mid $200 on discounters. And so it sounds expensive considering we're not even talking about a niche brand, but this is also not uncommon. Take a look at all of the designer brands, all of them. YSL, Dior, Chanel, Armani, the list goes on. They all have their more exclusive, expensive line of fragrances. Even Tom Ford is most notably famous for that, I would say. And so it's nothing shocking, you know, when you've been around long enough to kind of make these connections, right? Some people might be thrown off paying that much for a Carolina Herrera, but I'm here to tell you that this entire line is incredible. I mean, they are fantastic. Everything from this to Bronze Tonka to Platinum Leather to Iris Empire, they are amazing. Mystery Tobacco is simply, to me, a more refined, smooth, and more wearable version of something like Mancera Red Tobacco. Red Tobacco is harsh stuff. You know, it's not for the tame. It's not for the introverts out there, because it is very much a head turner in good or bad ways. And I think Mystery Tobacco, you know, they're incorporating the similar DNA. But you're getting some patchouli in here. You're getting some tonka bean, which is adding some sweetness, some powderiness. You're not really getting any oud like you get in red tobacco, which is another bonus probably for a lot of you guys. This stuff is great. It might sound redundant, but I don't believe that to be the case if you are someone who likes to have a wide variety of things. Maybe if you do have red tobacco, you could go and move on to something else instead. But if you're looking into getting a really strong, powerful tobacco scent that does do its own little twist, definitely check this one out here. The performance is still amazing. It's a nice one to work up to if you want a really nice premium, high quality, smooth, and wearable tobacco scent. Now this next one I had to throw in. There was no way I was going to do the video without including it. It is DIOR Homme Parfum. So to me, this is one of the all-time best designer fragrances ever created. Or maybe I should have said, to me, this is one of the best designer fragrances of all time. Whatever wording you want to phrase that as will be the correct way is what I'm talking about. Yeah, I'm not an English major, you can probably tell, but I do know that I love this stuff. And also, it's something that a lot of other people love and kind of strive to add to their collection as well. It's a very sought after scent here in the community. Outside of the community, no one knows and or cares, but you and I, we love this, or at least a lot of us do. For whatever reason, in the US and Canada and maybe some other places, it's almost impossible to find. Overseas, it's no problem. So it's not discontinued, it's just limited availability in certain parts of the world. With that being said, pretty much on a monthly basis, it will pop into stock on discounters like Fragrance Buy. Usually it sells through quickly. If you get on my mailing list and texting list, you're always notified and you're the first to know when that happens. This last time they got in over 700 bottles of this right here, 700. Normally they get in 100 or 200 maybe, and that's pushing it. 700. That gave you plenty of time to get your bottle before it eventually sold out, and it still sold out within a few hours. But that was a really, really solid time frame for you to have the opportunity to get it, and all of you that were on my mailing list and texting list, you got yours. So I'd recommend jumping on those below. But you know, it's all about the iris, the leather, a little bit of rose in here, a little bit of oud. But it's oh man. It's absolutely beautiful. I would spray it on myself now, but I'm just going to go take a shower after, and that would be wasteful. But I love it. It's so, so good. And really, I should be buying a new bottle or another bottle each time it pops up like that. I just haven't. I've got enough, but I never want to run out. I really, there's something utterly special about this DNA that I think not everybody will appreciate in the same way, but a lot of the people that do probably know what I'm talking about. There is really something amazing about this. Okay, next up we have AMOUAGE Interlude 53, so a little bit more of a pricey option here. Now you could easily go for the original Interlude or even something like Interlude Black Iris. Both of those two are going to be significantly more affordable and easier to get, I would say. This one retails for about $500. Not about, actually, it is $500 on the dot. So it's expensive, especially for AMOUAGE. And again, that's retail and 100 milliliters. Think about all the other niche brands out there that maybe come in 50 ml, 75 ml that are retailing for close to that. So, you know, it's still not as outrageous as some, but it's crazy, okay? Now, has a Papanax, incense, amber, and leather. It is a smoky, strong powerhouse of a DNA. From time to time, it is one that pops up on discounters. And when it does, it's usually about $200 off that retail. So I think somewhere around $290 to $300 on discounters when it does pop up. Somewhere rough ballpark figure there, which is still expensive, but it's a nice savings off of list price. And so I would not tell you to go out and pay retail for this. I wouldn't. You could go buy Interlude and Black Iris and Interlude for the same price as one. So maybe do that or just wait for this one to come into stock. That being said, I really like this straight version here. It is just as strong and as intense as this DNA can possibly get, and I think that is pretty exciting. Unnecessary? Probably, but it is exciting. Okay, next up we have L'Odyssey Pour Homme Noir Ambre by MIYAKE. So similar deal, you know, pops up from time to time on discounters, and usually it's going to be anywhere. I think I've seen it as low as into the upper 80s for testers, for 100 ml testers with cap, and then full presentation, which the presentation on this is really nice sliding out box, around 100, maybe a touch over, maybe 120. Within that range, just depends. but it is one that's worth being on the lookout for, and it's not uncommon entirely for it to just pop up here and there, completely random. And then sometimes it'll stick around for a while. Sometimes it'll sell out quickly and then come back a couple days later. Sometimes it'll come back a week or two later. But it's almost like all within one little period of time, it just pops up and you can buy it, and then it goes silent again for a few months. That's just the cycle of a lot of these harder to find things. But if you stick around and you get on my list, you'll definitely be able to grab one at some point. It's all about the amber. There's a lot of leather in here. There's some incense as well. But again, amber first and foremost would make sense given the name. It's a beauty, okay? This is a designer scent. Keep that in mind. This is what I would consider to be more of like a niche style and a designer bottle and from a designer brand, because they're really kind of pushing towards that enthusiast side of things with this DNA, and that's probably why it was discontinued. But it's a fantastic one. It's definitely worth having around. It kills it in the cooler times of the year. Next up, we have Ralph Lauren Purple Label. So in terms of getting this one, you can get it at retail for like $120, but it does pop up on discounters often as well. It just kind of depends. But it's one that you just don't really hear talked about. It's not, super hyped up or anything, and kind of gets overshadowed by a lot of the newer and more popular Ralph Lauren releases and all of their flankers. But this one here, it's got blackberry, mahogany wood, oak moss, a lot of oak moss, so it kind of gives it this green, cooling, very masculine, woody smell. And then the blackberry is very interesting, and it gives it more of a masculine, unique fruitiness that is just, it's so interesting to me. There's something just special about this one. I really like it. And you'll kind of see some comparisons to something like Bleecker Street. This did actually come first, and there are differences. Bleecker Street is blueberry, a lot of violet leaf. Bleecker Street is much more green. This is actually much more purple or blue. And by blue, I don't mean blue fragrance. I just mean what you would imagine the color of this would be like a purplish blue, from like the I don't know. I don't know. I'm not even going to try to explain it. It's just, you got to try this one out. Fantastic stuff. Okay, let's see if I can nail this one. Up next, we have L'Occitane Eau de Beau. This one's got vanilla, incense, cypress, and tonka bean. Fantastic stuff. Really good. And another one that is kind of just outside of that hype window. This type of thing never really would make it in and get talked about all the time, but it's great. It kind of has, to me, a little bit of a similar characteristic to a Tom Ford Tobacco Vanille, kind of. Like, it has this almost Christmas tree, like cinnamon smell, and this just holiday kind of warming sweet smell. I mean, that's very much what Tobacco Vanille is like to me anyway. It smells like the holiday season, and so does this one. One good thing about this is it's nowhere near the price of Tobacco Vanille. Usually on discounters, it's, I don't know, maybe $60, $65. Now keep in mind, this is also a 75 ml bottle. I think they might come in 4.2 ounce. I don't know for sure, but a little bit of an oddball bottle sizing, but still works out to be much cheaper than a lot of other things out there, which this may smell similar to. And this is also something that you're not going to smell every day. It's not from a big name brand that everybody knows and has heard of, right? And so you can pull this one off, walk down the street, walk into a bunch of different places, and you're going to be smelling unique, and you're going to be standing out in a great way. It's got great performance, great quality, really nice scent to have around if you're into kind of warmer, spicy scents and you want something that's fantastic for the holidays. Next up, we have Chanel Platinum Egoiste. So, this is another one that is fully in production. You can buy it directly from Chanel's website at retail, or you could buy it from any retailer at retail. Chanel is kind of one of the only designer brands that you can't get below retail. Otherwise, they sue you. So retail, that's it. And the retail price to me is not unreasonable on this either. You're going to be in the hundreds for it, which is standard, right? And I think it is worth every bit that you do have to pay for it. And actually, it is available on discounter, so I don't know what the price correlation is between retail and discounter-wise there. It's going to be a few dollars more expensive on discounters to keep them out of trouble, but it's not bad at all. And now, what is this one? Well, it's simply an aromatic fougere, and has a little bit more of a classic, older school smell to it. It's a barbershop style scent, but I've always described this one as a clean, fresh, out of the shower barbershop smell. Like when I smell this, to me, and look at that atomizer, by the way, it literally smells like the most expensive body wash or bar of soap even on the market for men that you could buy. Like it smells that soapy and that clean. I like to think of this as the Dylan Blue of the aromatic fougere world, or maybe even the Sauvage of the aromatic fougere world. Not saying that this smells like a blue scent, but saying that it is the most modern interpretation and most clean and wearable interpretation of an aromatic fougere that I have ever smelled. And keep in mind, this is not new. Been around for a long time, and still today it manages to smell modern and refreshing and just newer. I really have to give credit where credit's due. I love this DNA, and it's one that is not outrageous. It's not discontinued and hard to find, but it is a nice piece to work up towards because you could wear this literally for anything. Great stuff. We'll go ahead and toss in another one that you might have to hunt down for. Some of you maybe don't like that, but others of you do. You know, I get comments all the time saying, hey, you know, talk about discontinued stuff, and that's always mixed because people like to be able to buy the things that I'm talking about, which makes sense, but other people don't. So this is discontinued, but it's another deal. Like a broken record here, it pops up from time to time. If you do your due diligence, if you just stick with me, you'll be able to get a lot of this stuff at some point if you are patient. Roberto Cavalli Uomo La Notte. So what is this one all about, and why did it get so popular? Fragrance dominoes happening as we speak here. Everything just topples down. It kind of smells a little bit like CH Men Privé, which is one of my favorite designer scents that's been discontinued, and it's so far gone that I won't feature it at all because there's like a 0% chance that that stuff's popping up. Newerly discontinued things like this, there's always that chance. And it does smell a little bit like that, kind of like a cross between CH Men Privé and CH Men, because you get that kind of grassy, green, leathery, cooling smell from the original CH Men, so it's like a hybrid. It's great stuff. I think it was deserving of its attention. It's just a shame that they had to cut this one off seemingly so quickly. Or maybe it was out for a lot longer than we all thought, but no one knew about it until it was too late. That's probably how it went. Great stuff. Definitely worth adding to your collection if you have the chance. Let's go to one of the classiest designer brands that I can think of. It's Cartier, and this is going to be Declaration Parfum. Big old 150 here, and this will last you a lifetime for sure. So what does this one have? It has some leather in here. You've got some bitter orange, some cedar wood. It's very classic, very strong in terms of its masculine approach. The woodiness is no joke here. The leather is a nice wearable leather. It's not too overpowering, but it has texture. It's rugged, you know. It's something that goes against the grain by today's standards, and this isn't all that old either. But that's how Cartier does it. They put out some of the most classy and refined men's scents at designer prices. So definitely look into Cartier if you're looking for a brand that consistently puts out things that smell more grown up and more gentlemanly. It's not too absurdly priced either, you know, on discounters, so you can pick this one up for a very fair price, and it is worth grabbing. Running down to the end with Dolce & Gabbana Velvet Exotic Leather. So again, going back to these designer brands with their expensive lines, this is one of them. And what is the line? I thought it said on here, but I guess it doesn't. Yeah, I don't know. But this one has amber, incense, rum, and olibanum. It's an absolute beauty, and I've had the chance many times to buy what I believe was a 150 ml, which is kind of weird because this is a 50, and I don't know if they come in 100s, honestly, but I for sure they come in 50, and I think there were several times on like Fragrance Net where they had the 150s in stock, and they were pricey, but I was really on the fence, but I didn't want to spend the money on it. And I kind of wish I would have now, because this realistically will be enough for me. However, I don't want to ever run out of it because it is fantastic. I describe this one as Dolce & Gabbana the One, EDP, EDT, whichever, take your pick, with a boozy twist, a smoky twist, and way heavier, way stronger, way richer, way sweeter, just way more intense. And yeah, you're paying a more intense price for what is Dolce & Gabbana EDP amped up to like a Parfum level in terms of its smell, because that's kind of how I would look at this. But to me, someone who loves that DNA so much, it is worth it. And I don't know the status of this one. Maybe it's been discontinued, maybe not. But I'm going to go do some hunting around after I'm done, because now I'm kind of regretting not buying more when I had the chance. So definitely check this one out if you are interested and you're able to grab some. And I'm going to finish this one off with L'Homme Ideal Extreme by GUERLAIN. It's all about the plum, the tobacco, and the almond. Beauty of a scent. Absolutely amazing. It is so unique. It's one that you can get on discounters now, $100, and it's to me the top of the L'Homme Ideal line. Like, if you work your way up, to me this is my favorite. This is their best work yet, because it's so unique. There's nothing else out there like this, and it stands apart even from all of the others in the line. There is zero redundancy going on. It's worth every penny. Alrighty guys, that's going to do it for me. Some of the best fragrance holy grails that I think every guy should add to their collection at one point. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.